We gotta talk. We gotta talk, chat. We gotta talk, chat. This will be a segment on YouTube too. So, comment section on YouTube. We gotta talk. Oh, another $5. Thank you. Everyone talks about how we need a point guard, but the past few games make it clear shooting is a far bigger issue. We have no spacing. The paint is clogged. It's funny that you say that because that's kind of a segue, sort of a little bit. All right, so this game, we lost by a lot. We were bad. We lost by a whole lot of points. All right, okay, so this was dreadful, and I'm gonna tell you why this was dreadful, at least for me. Okay, Wembanyama once again had a phenomenal performance. This is like every game now. Hold on, let me put this on my headset. I don't know why it's coming off of my speaker. Okay. He had a phenomenal game as always. As we can see, 24. I'm not gonna go through every single player, but I'll just give you my overall thoughts about some things. Okay. So Wemby, he did fine. 6 for 8 free throw line, 12 rebounds. He had a double-double, 4 blocks, 4 assists, 1 steal. We all know he win it. Chet, we'll save that for another segment tonight, but he did great. Also, I was highly impressed with Devin Vassell. I said early on that we're going to have to find a way to get him going, but we didn't really have to find a way to get him going. Devin Vassell got it going alone, actually, and he also made up for the lack of playmaking that we were missing with Trey Jones, because Trey Jones definitely would have helped along with Blake Wesley. Blake Wesley has 6 assists in there, but he would have helped. But you can see that the team as a whole had to take on quite a bit of playmaking assignments here. So you had Jeremy Sohan playmaking. He had some really good passes, and there was a really good cut by Blake Wesley. He caught him pretty quick. You had Wemby, Devin, and Blake Wesley doing a fine job as far as playmaking. So out of the starters, I was very happy with those 4. Now, unfortunately, and this was bound to happen, Sohan has had many of good performances throughout January as far as shooting wise. This was not one of them. He was really, really bad. And it was unfortunate too, because they were open shots for the most part. They were leaving them open, but he's probably going to have to tweak that jump shot a little bit in the off season, just probably a little bit more. But he increased his percentages so much that you can't really be mad at him. But he did a fine job. I think my thing is when I look at players and they're not scoring well, I sit back and I say, okay, what are you out there for? Like, what are some things that you're bringing to the table? Sohan still played really good defense. He still for the team fairly well. Unfortunately, only had 5 rebounds, which that's good. That's good rebounding, but he definitely could have had like 3. It was like 3 rebounds that just kind of slipped out his hand there. But overall, fine defense. Nothing in defensive category, so you had to actually watch the game to know what I'm talking about. But he did good. He did fine. Just shooting wise, no. So, but shooting isn't gone. There's a reason for him to still be on the court. Blake Wesley did really well for his first start. I think that he came to play. I think he came back down to himself a little bit. He had 4 turnovers, and they were ugly turnovers. So he came down to himself a little bit. One was way too heavy to Sohan. It was a good read, but it was just way too much. Another one, I have no idea what was going on with that. So I'm sure that's just like kind of a tape thing. Him just not playing with the starters enough and all that good stuff. Not getting this type of minutes. But for his first showing, man, and getting this amount of minutes, starting and everything, he did well. And defensively, he did well. And until he didn't. Oh gosh, I got hiccups. Oh God. I'm gonna die. He did well until he didn't. That's why I'm drinking water, by the way. Yeah, but he did well until he didn't, and SGA started really exposing him a little bit. But Blake Wesley, he is a good defender. I'm still 100% sold on his defensive ability. So once again, he's one of those guys. He went 5 for 5, so I don't have to make this argument. But if the scoring ain't happening, there's a reason for him to be out there. Okay. Now, with that being said, that's all I got. That's literally all I got, guys. I'm at the point where I am open for trades. Okay. I won't sit here and I won't go like super far in on everybody and say this player's trash, this player's garbage. I'm going to tell you this right now. I expect this team to look so different next season. It needs to just swipe the bench the bench clean. Trey Sohan. Okay, you didn't hear a word I said. You're just trolling me at this point. For Trey Young. Oh, you caught me. Oh, you so. Ooh, you sly. You sly. He clever. He said Trey Sohan. He knew that'd get me, and then he said for Trey Young. Ooh. 1-1, obviously, but yeah, that's not going to happen. But Sohan is fine. Look, Sohan, Wemby, and Vassell, I'm not going to talk bad about them. Okay, they did a fine job. Like I said, I never expect Sohan's performances throughout January has been very impressive. I'm not expecting him to do that all the time. I expect him to have games like this because he's not that type of player. Maybe in the future he'll become more of a offensive shooting threat. He's not necessarily that. He's one of those guys that he does the dirty work. He's a connector. He's a glue guy, and he will look better the more talent you have on the team because he'll be able to amplify other people's abilities as well. So he's that type of role. Not really worried about Sohan. And Vassell, he found a way to score even though he had crazy defense against them, and he still gave us 7 assists. Fine job. These three, I'm not angry. Everyone shut up if you have anything to say about these three, all right? Leave Devin Vassell alone. Leave Wemby alone. Leave Sohan alone. With that being said, guys, we got to trade. I'm sorry. We got to trade. Doug McDermott got to go. He's got to go. And I think that the Spurs probably are going to trade him. I mean, we've already seen so many things come out saying they're probably going to trade him. He's on an expiring contract. It's time. It's time. So Doug, you got to go, my boy. People saying trade Zach Collins. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You can't trade Zach Collins yet. All right. I was talking to Swish about this. He can't be traded till April, I believe. So yeah. So Zach Collins won't be traded. So stop bringing up trading Zach Collins. Maybe in the offseason. I don't know. But I think you still need Zach Collins. But honestly, everyone else, I don't really care. I'll be real. Because it's at the point now where I'm like, okay. And I still believe in Malachi, by the way. I just think there's certain teams that would actually get more out of him. Now that we have Wemby, and this is no fault to the front office. This is no fault to the San Antonio Spurs as a whole. I mean, going into the season, they had no idea whether or not they were going to get Wemby, right? So when you're getting players, you're not thinking this is for when Wemby comes. You can't build around Wemby. And then on top of it, Wemby, we weren't even 100% sure if Wemby would come along this quick offensively in the NBA yet. We knew defensively it would translate. Offensively, we weren't 100% sure. He's getting better and better and better. Now that he's coming into his own, I think the Spurs have a better idea of what to build around him. So with that being said, though, so it's no fault of the Spurs. But now that we're getting more of an idea of the type of player Wemby is, which is basically just a god. I don't know. He can do everything. But now that we're kind of coming into our own a little bit, I think that it's very obvious that this bench can go. And I'll go player to player if you want. Now I'm not, like I said, I never go in on Malachi Branham. He's way too young. I don't care. If the Spurs were to keep him, that's totally fine. It's just that I'm assuming that in this upcoming draft, they'll probably get a point guard. I guess it depends on what goes on with the Toronto pick. I don't know whether or not we'll get a good one there, but I'm assuming they'll go with a point guard. But honestly, they need a small forward even more. I mean, I know people bring up point guard all the time. We really need a small forward, like desperately need a small forward. So like I was saying earlier, if you can't score, what are you giving me? Right now, Malachi Branham, what he's best at is pick and roll offense. And we don't really necessarily have a pick and roll team. And I don't know if we'll necessarily be pick and roll heavy. Like, I just don't think that we'll be. And at that point, that means Malachi Branham is resorted to being a sharpshooter or, a catch and shooter. And that is not what his game is predicated off. Like, that is not what he's best at. If you go back and you watch him in college, that's not his game at all. So he's kind of resorting to that due to the team that we have right now. He fell down to us in the draft. He was supposed to be a lottery pick. I don't regret it at all. It's just one of those things where it's like, what do you give me when you're not scoring? This game, he did fine, 3 for 5. 2 assists, 2 steals. He did his thing, but he's one of those where I'm just like, I don't know, guys. I have no idea. Graham, I think he'll just be gone. We just don't really have much use for him. It's nothing against him. It's just, I don't know, a little undersized. He is a point guard, but he doesn't play point really. He's just more of a shooter. I'll talk about Keldon in a minute. I see that Ruru's in the chat. She's gonna get very angry. Chetty Osman. Yeah, he got to go. I'm sorry, he got to go. I love him, but he's going to be he can benefit more of a team that's already established, trying to win a ring or a playoff team. He'll really be able to help them out. I don't think that he fits with us. And defensively, it's just dreadful. Okay, it's very hard to watch. Doug McDermott, same thing as I said earlier. Just send him to another team. Send him to another team. Send him to another team and possibly get a couple seconds out of it. I mean, it would be great if we can get a player. I know the Spurs were interested in crap. I'm blanking right now. I think that's been reported over at New Orleans. Guys, who is it that's on the trading block in New Orleans? Who is it? LeBron? Sissoko? What are we talking about? I said in New Orleans. LaMelo. What are we Are you trolling me? Herb. Yeah, Herb. Herb Jones. Yeah. Thank you, Swish. God. Oh my God. Yeah, Herb Jones. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that would be cool if somehow, some way we could trade Doug and get Herb. That would be cool. But I don't know. Other than that, I don't see a use for him. Mamu, yeah, you can go too. This is just frustrating. This whole thing is just frustrating. This whole situation is frustrating. All right, now, if Ruru is still here, please, Ruru, you can leave the chat now, okay? The rest of us are going to talk. I'm just waiting for her to go. Hold on, guys. I think we're safe. Okay, I think we're good. You guys ready? Keldon. It might be that time. Oh no, she's still here. Oh no, I ain't leaving. Oh no, Ruru, I'm so sorry. Ruru, no. Ruru, Ruru, I was just joking. I was saying Keldon Johnson is a starter and he should start. He should start for the rest of the season. I was gonna say we should trade Sohan, Fasel, and Wimby and just start Keldon, actually. Keldon, our energy guy, though. I don't have anything against Keldon as the role, ideally, hypothetically, of being an energy guy. I just don't know if he can lead a bench. I'll just be real with you. This game was an ultimate test for everybody, and the ones that were talented enough did stand out in some way, right? They did something in which they stood out. If they weren't scoring, they were doing something else. And I know that these are really young guys. So like I said, I don't want to go in on Malachi. Don't want to go in on Blake Wesley. Don't want to go in on Sohan. I think, and by the way, Blake Wesley and Sohan, I like their performances, but I won't go in on those players. But I'm sorry, man. It seems like if Keldon can't get to the paint, if you can just close that off for Keldon, it's non-existent. Like there's nothing there. You don't get anything out of it. The defense is bad. The shooting is wishy-washy at best. I mean, he can't create in mid-range shots. He doesn't have a lot of fluidity to his game. It's not a lot of versatility to his game. It's at times it feels like Keldon is a boulder. Now against weaker teams, yeah, he can just go one-on-one, go straight into your chest and get some points. But in this game, Keldon should have stood out in some way. And I know Thunder is a really tough team, obviously, but this is like a continuous thing. I think a lot of people, if Keldon didn't, this might be mean, but if Keldon didn't yell all the time, I don't think fans would be this hype on trying to keep him right now. And also on top of it, I think Keldon would be successful like anywhere he goes, right? I think that he'll be successful, especially on a playoff team or something like that, where they have more defenders around him. But with this rebuilding team, I just don't see how it fits. none of these mofos can shoot threes, nor do they have any other shot selections they can operate with no bags. Well, Ruru, that's why I said the whole bench can basically go. So okay, so we're on the same page then. Cool. But Keldon Johnson, it's just not a lot. He's not bringing anything, man. It's like if he's not scoring, there's nothing. He's constantly getting scored on, over and over and over and over and over. And I don't want to say that he's like a huge liability overall, but man, I'll be honest with you guys. I thought that Keldon Johnson with Wemby, he would look better when he's out there with Wemby, but he doesn't. It's like the whole offense, the half-court offense just stalls sometimes when Keldon's out there. And if he's not scoring, if he can't go straight into your chest and get a shot off, it's just nothing. I mean, I don't like to use a lot of plus minus, but watching this game, I think plus minus is actually actually fine. He was minus 32 in this game. This was one of those like where I would not look at plus minus any other way other than like because I saw it was the eye test with this one. It was so bad. It was so bad. Hold on, let me just read some of the comments. Keldon is a decent player, but he's limited. That's it. I agree, but it's also his mindset too, you know? He can't beat you any other way. And his mindset is, I'm gonna run into the paint. I'm just gonna go straight into the paint, straight into this guy's chest. And that's great, but like no one can really do that. I mean, you're not Giannis. And Giannis doesn't even really do that. Exactly. Swish says when Wemby, Vassell, and Sohan come off the bench, it's a layup line. Yeah. And the thing is, Keldon Johnson coming to the Spurs, a lot of people thought that he would be a better defender at this point. Going into this season, there were expectations that his defense would improve. Not just us saying that, not just fans. He said that. They all said that. They said, yeah, we know, like, Keldon got to improve his defense. Keldon said, I got to improve my defense. So I have no doubt that he's been working at this, but he's always been pretty flat-footed defensively, even in college. So it's just a frustrating situation. Now, I say all that to say this. It's not just a matter of, because I hate when people say, this guy sucks, trade him. And they're really just saying that because they're frustrated with somebody. I think that we can get a lot of usage and a lot of utility out of trading Keldon Johnson. I really do believe that, because I think that his value out of everybody that's on this bench, it's higher. Not only is his contract wonderful because it's on diminishing, contract year after year, but how teams view him, I think around the league, is a guy that brings a lot of energy. They remember the Olympics. They know what type of player that they're getting, and I think that any playoff team, championship team, competing team would want a Keldon Johnson on their squad. And if they have enough defense, he won't look as bad. He'll be you know how a lot of players leave San Antonio and they'll have the exact same stats, if not worse, but then fans will come out and say, we held them back. They look so much better now. Like, it was so much gaslighting with that to the point where even DeJounte Murray did it. Like, he left, went on the podcast with Steven Jackson and said, yeah, they held me back. The Spurs held me back. But then you look at his statistics, and statistically, it was worse. So it was like, what? And I think Keldon will be one of those guys. He'll leave San Antonio, and he'll have some games here and there that looks like really good, and fans will come out and say, we held him back, or, something silly or whatever. But all I'm saying is, I hyperfixate on the Keldon Johnson thing because I think you can get a lot of utility out. I think you can get some good picks. You could probably get a good player. You could package them and get a really good deal. Yeah, I don't know. But out of everyone on this team, the untouchables for me is Sohan, Wemby, and Vassell. Like, I wouldn't even really entertain it. It would have to be something insane for me to entertain. Well, Wemby's definitely untouchable. He's like S tier untouchable, okay? But A tier untouchables are Sohan and Vassell. And you're gonna have to really convince me out of those two. And after that, Blake Wesley, because of his upside, his defense, him coming off the bench would be wonderful. But other than that, guys, my hands are off. Because This was just a very frustrating game because it felt like it was Wemby and then just everybody else. He didn't get much help. Other than Vassell's scoring and some playmaking from Sochan and Wesley, he didn't get anything. He didn't get anything. He got no help. I mean, it was one lineup in which, gosh, I got to remember who it was, but Wemby was out there. Oh, gosh, who was out there with him? Was it Doug? It might have been Doug, Osman, Keldon. No. It was Blake, Branham, Osman, and Keldon, right? It was Blake, Branham, Keldon, Osman. That's what it was. That lineup, oh, dude, I wanted to vomit. It was literally just Wemby versus everybody. What about Trey Jones, Clint? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Because I'm looking at this. No. Trey Jones, keep him. No. I'm sorry. Keep Trey Jones. I wouldn't put him in A tier. Like, as far as Sochan. As far as Wemby. I don't know if I'll put him in. I'm sorry. Vassell and Sochan. I wouldn't put him in A tier. But he'll probably be B tier. But yeah, I would keep Trey Jones. Yeah. Sorry. No. Trey Jones stays. I wouldn't get rid of Trey Jones. Because you can have Trey Jones either start or come off the bench. And if the Spurs were to get a point guard in this upcoming draft, they're gonna need some time before they can. They would probably start. They would start. A lot of your picks probably going to start right off the bat, but it takes some time. But no. Trey Jones stays. I wouldn't get rid of Trey Jones. It would have to be a really good deal for me to do that. So I'll put him in B tier. I'll put him B tier. I wouldn't keep him as much as I would keep Vassell or Sochan, but Wesley, I probably should have did one of those tier lists. We should have did a tier list. I'm sorry. But yeah, so so for you, Clan, aka the first Sochan supporter, he is not untouchable. He's borderline untouchable. Like I said, I put Sochan and Vassell in A tier. Like, it would have to be a crazy deal, right? Technically, no one's untouchable, but it would have to be a crazy deal. Because I do believe in these three together. I think that they vibe off of each other well. I like Sochan's nastiness. I like that he does all the dirty work. I like his defense. I like his. I feel like when you get enough talent on the team, he'll really shine. Right? So. Yeah. And then as far as Devin, it's kind of a rarity to get a guy that has that much fluidity in his game. It would have to be a crazy deal, and I just don't see it happening. So S tier Wemby, no one touched them no matter what. Sochan and Vassell, those are in A tier, but I don't want to trade them. Guys, I ran out of water already. Switcher says, good Lord, Sochan has been great lately and has one off game and y'all turn on him hard. Who's been turned on Sochan? Sochan is in Keldon's tier? No, Sochan is not in Keldon's tier. God, it's like, God, it feels like sometimes people don't listen to me. Look, there's some guys that even if they're not scoring well, they do other things well on the court. There's a reason to keep them on the court. Okay? Sochan is one of those guys. He can have a bad shooting night, but it doesn't end there. He does so many other things, and he does things that don't show up sometimes in the stat sheet. He played phenomenal defense tonight. You get another defensive wing in there, and you're looking at a juggernaut of a defensive team. You bring in Sidi Sissoko, you get you a point guard that can defend, or another point guard can defend. Wesley's fine. You get you a point of attack, small forward. Dude, you're looking at a really good team, and Sochan will get praised every single night. It's just that his playing style isn't pretty sometimes because of the team he's on. I don't think that he'll ever be. I think this is where me and Swish, because Swish in the chat, I think that's where me and Swish kind of I don't want to say butt heads. We don't butt heads about this, but like disagree it to an extent. I don't think that Sochan will end up being like a 20+ point scorer. I think it's possible. I don't think he will be, just because of how his game is. I don't think he'll be fishing for that at all. But he does enough that lends yourself to keep him on the court. But that's not the case with Keldon. You know, they shouldn't. No, they're not in the same tier. And not only that, Keldon's 3 years older, with 5 years experience. No, it's not the same. They're not in the same tier. Who you would keep during this Wemby era? No. When Keldon's not going into your chest and scoring, I mean, he'll have some nights where he can get hot from three. But if he's not going straight into your chest and scoring, what is he doing? What is he doing? You know, that's the problem. If it was something else I could hang on to, you know, but Keldon out there, he was just any of the other guys. And he was coming off the bench and he was any of the other guys. Going against their bench unit, he should shine. And you know what's even worse about this whole thing with the Keldon thing? What's even worse is the best player is never guarding Keldon. You get what I'm saying? Even if Keldon is out, he rarely has the best defender on him. Rarely. And a lot of times when he does get going, teams will kind of allow that. As long as no one else is getting going, they know, okay, Keldon Johnson, he's going to do the same thing 50 times. You make that adjustment, he's still going to keep doing the same thing. But when he's not scoring, it's just nothing, man. Just an empty void that your entire team goes down. It's like, what's the point at this point, you know? I don't hate him. I don't think he's trash. I think Keldon would thrive anywhere. Okay, well, not anywhere, but you go the right team, the right situation, he'll thrive. He'll be fine. He'll have a long career in the NBA. I just think with this team, with us rebuilding, I just don't really see the utility. You might as well just go in on a trade at this point, you know? Should the Spurs focus on a playmaker for when Wemby is on the bench, or focus on putting pieces around him and we just not score while he rests? I don't know what you mean. Should the Spurs focus on a playmaker for Wemby for when Wemby is on the bench? I don't know what you. I don't understand. You need someone more than likely leading the bench unit. I'm not 100% bought in that we have that right now. So you'll need that. Right now, I think honestly, guys, the next order of business is Julian Champagnie. I forgot to mention him. He's probably in the bench type dude. I know Swish said that plenty of times too. But Julian Champagnie. The obstacle right now is to fill in this point guard spot. Love you, Blake. Love you, Trey Jones. But we need to fill in that point guard spot and to fill in the small forward position. That is the next order of business. Okay, that's the next thing we need to do. And then from there, you start filling up that bench unit with hopefully better defenders. City Sissoko will be here probably next season at this point. I don't know if he'll be here for the second half of the season. I'm not sure. We need Trae Young. Trae Young will be great. But regardless, the Spurs can't really lose here. You know, you got so much draft capital. Like you can't really lose. Like, we're in charge of our own future. We're fine. But you know, so many different things you can do. So many different scenarios. But if the Spurs can manage to get themselves some defenders up in here, that would help so much. And then as far as the starters, I am fully content with Devin Vassell, Wemby right now, and Sohan. You know, who knows what the future holds? You know, like when I say that we need somebody to start the bench unit, it could be Sohan. I don't know. Or it could be Devin Vassell. I have no idea. But right now, I don't think we necessarily have it, and we definitely don't have the depth for it. It's like as soon as these guys sat, it was over, man. It was absolutely over. That was a wrap. Yeah. I'm glad we're all in the same boat with this though. I was kind of afraid that people would get mad at me for saying Keldon, maybe possibly trading Keldon, but it's kind of cool that people like agree with it, right? For the most part. Yes, sir, Clan, I agree. See, thank you, Steven. Steven donated me $5 and said that. Thank you, man. Okay, cool. Or Stefan. Is it Stefan? I think it's Stefan. Spurs not making no boot news. Nobody wants our role players. Ruru. Doug McDermott. Hold on. Ruru, you're just upset tonight. I'm glad you didn't yell at me for the Keldon thing though. That was kind of cool. I guess we're on the same page now. But girl, homie, he's shooting 45%. You don't think a contending team would take Doug McDermott, who's shooting 45% from 3? Really? And people know who Chetty Osman is. I mean, there was many of people saying, outlets saying, oh man, Spurs got Osman. That's a pretty good deal. You know, so if you want to trade Osman, that's a guy. People know who Devontae Graham is. They know he's a scorer off the bench. Of course people will want to trade. You said nobody want. No? That's all you got to say? Is no? No to what? People will want our bench. They will want these players. Some of these players, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you trade Doug McDermott, you get Trae Young, or you get some first round picks or nothing like that. But, you know, possibly you trade McDermott, you get a couple seconds and possibly get a defending wing. And, you know, who knows? Maybe you package those seconds along with the 50 other second round picks you got and you get something else. Who knows? Who knows? But I think Doug will, yeah. Like, why would you not want Doug? Swisher says McDermott will get traded. He's one of the best shooters in the league percentage-wise this year. Contenders will want that off the bench. There you go. I agree. Let's see. Champagny, Malachi, and Zach are G League players. Okay, come on. Zach Collins is not a G League player. Nor is Malachi. Come on. Julian Champagny is fine. He just needs to come off the bench. He's fine. I don't... If he's gone, I'm cool, but he's fine. He just needs to be a bench player. But yeah, come on. Let's not get crazy. Malachi and Zach are not G League players. Come on. That's wild. That's a wild take. S, Wemby, A, Fasell and Sohan, B, Trey, Barlow, Wesley. You summed it up perfectly, my friend. I actually agree with that. You can add City in there too. We can put City. Maybe we should put City in A. City Sissoko might need to go in A tier of not tradable. Yeah, I think City should go in A tier of not tradable right now. I'm pretty high on him. The conversation is done. Ruru, I don't even know. Ruru, were you mad tonight? I have no idea. I don't trip. I give facts, and I don't try to sway a player because I like them. I'm so confused. Oh. She was responding to Sebastian. Okay. Sebastian said, rude thinking with their heart. Rue's just upset. She's just angry. Which I'm angry too. You guys should have heard some of the things I was saying during this game. I was very angry. Very unlike me. Was at the game tonight, Clan. Can't wait till we chant MVP. Yes, sir. You can do it now, actually. I don't know why you guys didn't. You had many opportunities. He shot 8 of them. Thanks for the super chat, though. All right. And we're ending this segment. Let's go to the next thing.